Welcome in, everybody. So we are doing some trade deadline prep for the Cincinnati Reds. These are, I guess it's what I would do if I was running the Reds because there definitely is a bit of this is what I think the Reds will do. I have no faith in them to go out and acquire, these big time trade targets, get into a bidding war with your New York Yankees, your LA Dodgers, teams like that. So these are moves that I think are realistic. This is based off what I think it would take as far as like a prospect package. Or is this going to take a top 10? Is this going to take a 10 to 15, a 15 to 20, a 20 to 30? So these prospects were as not as much based off their ratings in the game, although it's pretty close, but based off of current top 30 prospects lists and what these teams are looking for. So I guess to start, I did several sims until I got the Reds record pretty close to what it is now. So we're sitting at 54 and 55 on trade deadline day. So we're about a week roughly um, into the future here. Um, so yeah, let's look at who we acquired, and then I'll kind of go into why. So for the Reds, the first trade we did was Ryan Mahone. Anyways, um, the Reds have not had a lot of production out of first base and third base this year. I mean, Noelvi Marte has been okay in spurts, but he's not great defensively. They've actually started using him in right field. Ryan is very versatile. Um, he's defensively excellent and he hits okay, and his contract is not bad. So he seemed like a good target for us, and I think he's someone that some teams will go after him. Like I've heard the Yankees would be a good fit, but he's not going to drum up the same amount of attention as Suarez from Arizona would, for example. I just don't think there's going to be a bidding war for him. So, did some research. Seems like it would take a fringe top 10 prospect, which is what Hector Rodriguez is exactly. Um, and then a couple of down in the 20s to 30s prospects. So I feel like this is a pretty good package for Colorado. So they're getting Hector Rodriguez, who has hit everywhere he's been, but he's got some questions. You got Zach Maxwell, who is kind of your typical power pitcher, but can't locate. The Reds keep saying they love him, but if they love him so much, why is he not up here? So I think he's a bit expendable. And then Ethan O'Donnell, um, who wasn't going to be with the team for quite some time and was by no means like a superstar prospect. Um, we really wanted to get a reliever, but some of the other guys we looked at were frankly too expensive. Um, checked in with Arizona um, on Shelby Miller. What my list here. Yeah, so we checked in on Shelby Miller with Arizona. We checked in on Jake Bird with Colorado. They wanted too much. In the research I did for the prospects ranges that we're looking at, they just wanted too much. Um, Edwin Arroyo for Dennis Santana's probably not a great move. It's probably a bit of an overpay for us, but the Reds have a lot of shortstops in real life, not in MLB The Show. um, and I don't know. He's better than those other guys. So, and he's going to be with the team next year. Like I feel good about. I think Miller was a free agent. Jake Bird is good, but he's not Denise Santana good. So, um, it just all in all, Edwin Arroyo had fallen into the low tens, right around 10. Some people had him outside of the top 10. It seemed like a fair trade. Um, looked for outfielders really hard. So we did the typical work. We talked about Luis Robert Jr. We checked in on Ramon Laureano, Adolis Garcia from Texas. Major, asks for those guys. And so we're like, we've got Will Benson, we've got Jake Fraley. We need a right-handed guy that can hit. The problem was a lot of the teams that had a guy like that were in pretty good shape, as far as they did not want to part with a MLB bat that could do that, because they're in the thick of the race. So I looked around, did some research online. Alex Call came up a few times. He's older. I think he's 30 now. The Nationals don't need him. We also happen to have a first baseman who cannot hit in the major leagues despite tearing up AAA and is still young, still has potential. So Christian Encarnacion Strand made sense. And in the game they accepted it. And I feel like this would be a pretty legit fair trade in real life, maybe a slight overpay on our side. But the goal was to not trade top 10 prospects. And I guess we did that in two cases. We parted with Hector Rodriguez, who is our 10, and then I think Edwin Arroyo was maybe a 9 for us. Let me just double check. He was an 8. So we traded our number 8 and our number 10. But those are guys who were, I would say, kind of trending down. So I'm okay with it. And then we actually made a trade from the other side where we parted with a MLB player for a prospect. And that was just because Santiago Espinal has not been good this year. We didn't have a spot for him anymore after these moves. And instead of sending him down to AAA and then probably non-tendering him or trading him for a prospect in the offseason, we decided to see what we could get. And we got Brendan Jones from the Yankees. So just see what we have now. The rotation is still pretty good. Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Andrew Abbott is your big three there. Nick Martinez, it didn't make sense to trade him, especially with the news that Brett Lauder's not coming back this year. We needed that depth, and also Nick Martinez is a good pitcher, an okay pitcher, but given his contract, I just didn't see a lot of teams giving us a whole lot for him. We had more benefit keeping him on the team. Brady Singer might get traded in the offseason, but for now, he's got one more year of control, so we're going to hang on to him. And then I called up Chase Burns. This is a little different than what the Reds did with him in real life, but given his velocity and everything, let him ease into the majors. I have lineups and pitching rotations on auto right now. What I'm going to do is make moves in the offseason and then play every game next year. So I'll probably put him in the rotation at that point. But yeah, so he'll probably, I would imagine, be in the bullpen for now. Relief pitchers, we obviously have Santana now. Pagan can go back to his kind of 8th inning role, which is, he was doing great as a closer, but he's also really good as a setup man. And then the rest of the bullpen is, usual suspects. Probably could honestly have tried to get another bullpen arm, but I feel like given that our chances of making the playoffs are not great, I feel like we did pretty good not trading too many top prospects and getting guys who, I don't think we acquired anyone that is not going to be potentially on the team next year. Yeah, these guys will all be back. So I think we did great considering that. We would have had to have given up a lot more, and I still don't feel like our chances would have been great to make the team. Like, we would have had to have gotten like a Suarez, still gotten a Santana, probably another top-end pitcher like a Miller, and then a big-time outfield bat like a Luis Robert. We would have had to have traded probably most of our top 10 guys and maybe an MLB bat or two, and it just didn't really seem worth it. Catchers, we still have our 2 catchers, Steer, McLean. Ryan McMahon slots in here at third base. We're going to keep Marte up on the MLB roster. Probably will edit him and add right field as a secondary position since he's been playing that a little bit. De La Cruz, of course, outfield, and Lux is kind of super utility guy. Lux, Fraley, Hayes, Friedel, Alex Call, and Will Benson. Speaking of utility, we really tried to acquire Dylan Moore from Seattle. I thought he would be really cheap and probably will be in real life, but in this game, he's not doing nearly as bad, and I think he's maybe a little overrated. So they wanted a lot for him, but he could be a target in the offseason. Just something to keep in mind. So, oh, and then let's see, here he is, the guy we got from the Yankees for Espinal. So, all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. Try to get this video up before the Reds start making moves. We'll see if they do anything like this, or maybe they'll make the same move. It would be pretty crazy. So, going to go ahead and sim out the rest of this year. And then, like I said, don't expect to make the playoffs, but I think we've made the team a little bit better without hurting it in the future. It's given us a chance, right? And then we will see what we can do in the off season and into next year.